Hello, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. It's probably been about 5 days since I put up a video. I didn't really plan on doing a video today at first, but an old friend of mine, somebody that I knew from a couple years ago, we've kind of reconnected because I found out that he is interested in the same topics and subjects that I cover on my channel here. And we were talking about the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, and that got me thinking. I had started the curriculum with a relaxation ritual, the tarot contemplation, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, and now I finally wanted to cover the Middle Pillar Ritual. There's a couple things I wanted to cover before I get into the Middle Pillar Ritual first. The curriculum, if you were following it from my earlier videos, if you have not watched those videos, I recommend you go back and watch those. I will add this video to the playlist of, I forget what I called it, Ceremonial Magic, I think. But that's where I talk about basically the Golden Dawn curriculum I'm following, or the curriculum from this book, Modern Magic. So if you go back and watch the old videos, the order as follows, if you're doing all of them, is you do Relaxation Ritual first, then you do Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram or Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram. We talk about the two differences in those in earlier videos, but typically you do the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Then, if you need to, you do a tarot divination. But first, you would do the tarot contemplation. Sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up just a little bit. So Relaxation Ritual, Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Because I don't normally do a tarot contemplation, you would do a tarot contemplation and or a tarot divination, and that would be the end of the curriculum from the earlier videos. Now that we're getting into the Middle Pillar Ritual, it's going to be added on at the end of the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And I don't really recommend doing it with the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram. You can, but since you're invoking energy so much already with the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, it makes more sense to me, since in the Banishing you're kind of pushing the energies away from you that you don't want anymore. You would do the Middle Pillar after that. It's important to note too that as we talked about before, during a Banishing you're also invoking. You're invoking the invocation of the 4 archangels. In the Middle Pillar is an invocation as well. So I think just the Lesser Invoking Ritual and the Middle Pillar at one time might be too much. So I recommend doing the Lesser Invoking of the Ritual of the Pentagram in the morning, and then the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram at night. Or if you're trying to draw things to you, more the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, and then the Banishing. The Banishing's better for the beginning stages anyway. That's the first ritual they really tell you to learn after the Relaxation Ritual and the Tarot Contemplation. Okay, so moving forward, the Middle Pillar, it's another thing that you add to your curriculum, essentially, that you're doing. If you are following the Western ceremonial, and this is not necessarily Golden Dawn, but Modern Magic, it's still following that same example, the same curriculum, essentially. There's a couple subjects that Donald Craig talks about in here in between the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram and before he gets into the Middle Pillar ritual. He talks a lot of he's kind of clearing up a lot of stuff on the Kabbalah and kind of the history of it. He starts getting into the Sephiroth, talks about the diagonal pathways on the Tree of Life. We can get into all this stuff in later videos. I had actually started to write notes for this stuff the other night, but then I think I fell asleep or something. It had been a long day. Today's been a long day too. I worked 8 hours today, and it's been a couple hours since I've been home. Got cleaned up and everything. So, but because of my friend, I'm not going to mention names on here just because this is, YouTube, and I'm never going to give out your identity or whatever. If you want to talk to me about any of this stuff, I'm pretty much ears. I'm always here to give my perspective. I'm not like a professional on any of this or any means, by any means, or like a scholar or anything like that. I just feel that I am, ultimate source is channeling me. I'm here, for a reason, and this seems to be the reason, is to spread this light and this knowledge and this understanding. Getting off track, like I usually do. I get into that in other videos as well. You'll hear me kind of rant and get off course. He talks about the Kabbalistic source of all. Yeah, there's all kinds of really good stuff in here. Another thing he talks about directly after the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram in this book, though, he starts talking about psychic attacks that could possibly happen to you, but he says about 90% of the time they're imagined psychic attacks. And he gives like little techniques and things to like how to overcome those. I've never like really seen the need for this. And here's a little picture. This is just part of, the little section on protecting yourself, from psychic attacks. We can get into that if you guys want to comment it or, whatever, if that's something that you feel like you would want me to get into. It's all in this book, and I'm pretty sure you can get this book for free online. Either this is like, I think this is the second or third edition, and they might have the first edition online, but I think it's pretty much the same book. Another thing they cover too, as well as the 4 solar adorations. I mentioned them briefly in one of the previous videos, and you do one for each of the 4 phases of the sun, for sunrise, for high noon, for sunset, and for the midnight sun, which is basically when, the Earths were faced away from the sun, essentially. But these rituals, they align your energy with the elements, with the cycle of the sun. It gives a few different reasons for performing those in here. I feel like I can go over that in another video, though. I don't know that I'll really have time to cover that today because I want to get straight to the middle pillar ritual. For me personally, the solar adorations, this is why I kind of wish I lived like out in the woods and stuff, because away from people, because I could just go outside and not have to worry about neighbors or anything. The sun, I could go exactly at noon, I could go exactly at sunrise, exactly at sunset, do these adorations as loud as I want to in the woods, and they are very powerful. You're working with Egyptian archetypes in this particular, in the solar adorations. But yeah, if you want to know more about that, download the book online, or we can cover that in future videos. Okay, so the middle pillar, first, you do the relaxation ritual, you do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and then it says here you go back and stand behind your altar. So you're facing east, but you're not in the east anymore. You've come back to the west side, but you're facing the east, is what they're saying. And now, after you've performed the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, there should be, for where you pulled down from Kether, when you pulled down and did the Kabbalistic cross, when you did the Ta, it's that same light that's up there. And basically, this is the sphere of white brilliance. If you don't actually see it, just try to visualize it, know that it is there. Regard the white brilliance with awe. It's the spiritual equivalent to the vital core of your being, or your higher self, Donald Craig says in here. It's your link with the divine. And then this brilliant glow, it just becomes even brighter and brighter. And so after you've performed, wherever you are, and you're performing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, it's best if you, when you're doing this, all of this, you just stand up and you have your arms at your side like this. A lot of the times I tend to I'll kind of rock back and forth almost, or my hands will kind of move around or whatever, because it's such a powerful ritual, really, that it can cause your body to just this tie is really tight. But sometimes I like to dress up nice for these videos. I just want to give a somewhat professional presentation to these. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I want people to know that I'm serious about this information. I want to convey it in a way that's, as coherent and straightforward as possible, and really just trying to get the information out and such. Getting off track once again, though. You'll stand up straight when you're doing the middle pillar, but you sometimes tend to rock back and forth. That'll happen. I heard there was one dude, I think he fell down or something when he was doing it. But this bright white light's above your head as you're standing up. And then this is when you vibrate the God name. and I'm just doing it really quiet right now because I actually use what's called Donald Craig. He calls it the silent voice or the great voice, which is where you do all these vibrations in your mind, but you're doing them in your head. You're not actually vocalizing them, because a lot of us live with other people and stuff, and they don't really want to hear us just chanting or vibrating these names really loud. So that's where kind of the woods and being outside and stuff like that can really come in handy. But Hey is the first one. As you're imagining this brilliant white sphere above you, you know, it's coming straight. It's straight from source. It's nothing else. You know that it's not any inferior deities, especially when you're doing the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram 2. You are pulling straight from source. You need to go beyond any demiurgic or, you know, archonic beings or gods with a lower G. No. Ultimate source is what we're working with. Hey is the first one, and you vibrate that like 3 or 4 times. Hey, and as you do, the sphere gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And now, you visualize a slender beam of light descending from the brilliance above your head. Oh, this is the part before. Okay, so what I'm going to give you first in this video. Sorry, I've done a little more digging later on about additions that you can put onto the middle pillar ritual. So this is going to be the basic version, and then I'll tell you more things we can do later. I've just gotten so used to doing it with the other add-ons that I forgot it was all part of this middle pillar ritual. But I'll go ahead and explain it all in this video. But first, we'll just go over what's necessary, they say, for the middle pillar. So you've vibrated hey yay 3 or 4 times, and this bright white comes down, and it descends, and now it comes to right where your neck is. And he says, visualize a slender beam of light descending from the brilliance above your head to the center of your head and stopping at the nape of your neck. So the beam's like all like right within here. There's actually really, here's the picture of the actual like visual representation in the book, like with each of the names associated with it too. Okay. So here, once you're at the neck, it widens into a ball of light. Not as big as the one above, though, it says. And that's something I forget to visualize myself. See, as I go back and I research, I read more on these rituals that I've done for years now, actually, a couple years. That's some insight knowledge about me a little bit. A lesser banishing ritual, definitely longer than the middle pillar, for sure. But you read things and you're like, oh man, I'm not even putting that in there. There's so much to visualize. There's so much extra visualizations and things you can do to strengthen, your rituals. You can do basic rituals and just kind of make them like more advanced as you go onwards. And I think that's a better idea, is building a good foundation with your magical work and working outwards, rather than just trying to like grab here and grab there and you're just trying to advance really quickly. There's really no benefit in like trying to go as quick as you can. That's silly. Coffee. Okay. So it's come down to your neck. The light's here is not as big as the one above. And at this point, you should be visualizing simultaneously the brilliant sphere above and the ball of light here. And there's a beam of light that connects the 2 spheres. This is the link between your conscious and your higher self. So the conscious self would be here, and then your higher self's up here. The ball of light at your neck should grow in size and intensity when you vibrate the name Yod He Vav He Elohim. Yod He Vav He Elohim. So you'll vibrate that. The first one was Hey Yod He Vav He Elohim is the second one. You vibrate that 3 or 4 times. And then the sphere, the beam of light's going to descend down. It goes down to your torso, and it lights up the solar plexus in the form of a sphere. This represents your consciousness, and the ball should increase in brightness and intensity. You may feel as if you were being warmed by an internal sun, I actually have had this sensation when pulling the energy down to the solar plexus when doing the middle pillar ritual. I've had some interesting things. I feel like sometimes your body's kind of like fixing itself. You know, your DNA is being like evolved and stuff when you're working with this. When you're working with these rituals, you are really, you know, in my opinion, you're like a new prototype for humanity. And that's why on this channel I want to cover this stuff, because, you know, being an ambassador for the new age of the Aeon of Horus, it's one of my real big reasons for being here. It's important that I share this stuff. Just needed to say that real quick. Somebody needed to hear that somewhere. So now we're at the solar plexus. So the first one, it was A, Hey, Yay, 3 or 4 times. White sphere comes down to the neck. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Elohim. And then that sphere goes down to your solar plexus. And then you do Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Elo, Ab, Da'at. That one's a little more interesting to say. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. As I said before, if you're watching these videos, you need to be reading books and doing video research your stuff and like checking out other people, and just adding what I have to say to the information that you're already researching. So once you're here, once you're in the solar plexus, it's Yod He Va He Eloav Da'at 3 or 4 times. Then once you're done there, the sphere goes down to your genitals and it forms a sphere. And here you regard yourself as master of your lower self. The God name to be vibrated 3 or 4 times is Shaddai El Chai. I've tried to look up different pronunciations of it on YouTube, and it seems to be that the best one is Shaddai El Chai, I believe is the pronunciation. It spells it with like a chi. I'm sorry, not a chi. It looks like Kai, but it has a C. But it has more, when I looked up the Hebrew pronunciation of it, it was more of a ha with a H, just the H, like Shaddai El Chai. So once again, as I've said before, pronunciations aren't always the most important thing if you get them exactly accurate. I would say whatever feels best for you. But remember, when you're tapping into rituals like the Lesser Banishing Ritual, the Pentagram, where there's thousands of other people doing these operations around the world, like he mentions in this book, Donald Craig, you're actually like, if you learn to pronounce them correctly, you're tapping into the energies of all those people as well. So once you get down to the Shaddai El Chai, that's in your Yesod, the foundation, that is your sacral chakra region, and then you move down all the way to your feet. So you've got that beam of light, as you saw in the picture, it's like up here, and now there's a beam up here, one right here, one right here, one here, and then there's a beam of light all the way at your feet. Again, the light should descend here to form a sphere which encompasses both feet and the ground. That is, the sphere should be half above the ground, covering the feet, and half below the ground, under the feet. The God name to be vibrated 3 or 4 times, this time, is Adonai Haaretz. Adonai Haaretz. At this point, there should be large spheres of light above the head, at the throat, at the solar plexus, at the groin, and at the feet, as we just covered. Each sphere of light should be connected with the sphere above and below by a beam of light. Stay in this state for as long as you desire, then take a deep breath, and as you exhale, visualize the images fading and becoming invisible. They are still there, but they cannot now be seen. This completes the middle pillar ritual. When you're vibrating, make sure the appropriate area, when you're vibrating the words, make sure the appropriate area of the body is vibrating correctly. If you have difficulty and trouble in forming a sphere of light or a beam of light, do not struggle for minutes on end until you break out in a sweat. Have not had that problem before, but I actually have with the relaxation ritual, because I'm coming straight from my day-to-day things, you know, work, like music or whatever it is I'm doing, and I go down and I try to do that relaxation ritual. I'm just trying to chill, and sometimes it takes a minute for me to like just let go of everything. Some days are easier than others. Like today really wasn't that bad. I haven't had too much negativity on my mind, which has been really a blessing. So just keeping myself around more positive influences, and really like staying strong in my studies and stuff, and really like staying true to who I am is like really helping me not form as many negative thought patterns about things that are outside of my control and such. So just wanted to say that as well. But yeah, here we go. Several things that could have caused the problem. Usually mental in nature, either from conscious or unconscious sources. But eventually you were able to overcome any of these problems. It goes on. There's a little section here that talks about like the little beware of the little nasties. And it basically just talks about like when your astral senses become heightened, you know, you're able to see like kind of in between the worlds more, so to speak, I guess. You'll start to see, like, he said, yeah, Donald Craig said he first became aware of these things while watching a boring program on TV, and then suddenly out of nowhere a large serpent seemed to come out of the floor and descend back into the floor about a foot away from its point of entry. A friend of mine calls these things astral garbage. I call them little nasties, and they cannot harm you in any way. So if you see any little anomalies like that, wouldn't be too alarmed. That's not really something I experienced. That almost sounds like kind of like a psychedelic or hallucinogenic experience to me more than, but you never know. I mean, I know people who can straight up see spirits. So it's just, I think some of us are given, you know, a certain level of gift to see things, and then others aren't. You know, we come here with different dharmas, like different life purposes. So it's really hard to say, you know, why we have the powers or the levels of perception that we do. Okay, we're 21 minutes in. That's not too bad. This video didn't end up being too long yet, but it's getting there. So there are other things that you can do along to add to the power of the middle pillar ritual. I'm trying to find... Okay, here we go. If you feel you have been successful with the middle pillar ritual, you may go on to an advanced version of the ritual. Visualize each Sephirah, each power center, and the colors given on the correspondence list. Da'at is lavender, and for Malkut, use black. So let's refer to this over here. Oh yeah, I've got some cool sacred geometric things going on in the background there. Got some tones playing. Help me relax a little bit more. Yeah. So on here, the colors you're actually going to visualize, he says, you know, here's the Aheye, that's the Metatron at the top when you're doing the middle pillar. This is going to be a light purple, a lavender, this dot section. And that dot has a lot of, because it's not an actual like Sephiroth on here, there's 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but if you can include that one, it's 11. It's kind of like the hidden Sephiroth, and there's a lot of like occult or esoteric significance to that Sephiroth, and I can't entirely go into what all that is, but the abyss that they talk about crossing is right there on the map, though. If you ever heard of people like, especially Aleister Crowley, talking about crossing the abyss, I think that's one of the things he was talking about. That's a pretty detailed subject. I'm sure we'll get into at some point as I do more Crowley reading, and we'll cover some of that stuff. But to proceed, that's where the Raphael comes in. Well, we didn't even get into that yet. I'm so sorry. We didn't get into Metatron either. But this... Okay. So sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this picture right here, basically the colors they're telling you to symbolize on that are the same as these. So it's those same spheres. You've got one above your head. This is the one at your throat, around that area. And then this is the solar plexus, and then the genital region, and then the feet. But in here, the advanced version of the middle pillar, which is what I do personally, I try to visualize the colors as if the tree of life were backed onto your body, as if your body is, you know, all the colors of the Sephiroth are glowing on your body. It's hard to visualize all of them, but as long as you can get the main primary colors of the middle pillar ones as the light is, you know, descending into your body. If you've been successful with the middle pillar, you may go on to an advanced version of the ritual. Visualize each Sephiroth, each power center, in the colors given on the correspondence list. As I said before, the Sephiroth should be connected with the beam of white light. You may also vibrate the name of the Archangel after vibrating the God name, and that's what I was getting at. So for each of these, there's an angel associated with each of these center points as you're bringing the white light down in the middle pillar. So this top one, it's Metatron, the A-Hey-Ye, and then the Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey-Elo-Av-Da'at. There is an angel associated with that, he says here. It says Da at the throat does not have a Kabbalistic archangelic name, so we borrow from another language called Enochian or Angelic. And Enochian magic and the whole Enochian language, that's a whole different, like, it's connected, but it's a whole topic I haven't really done a whole lot of research on yet, which I do need to do a whole lot more of. And that's more advanced in the Golden Dawn curriculum and such. But yeah, so the one they recommend here, Metatron up here, and this one is, it's the Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey-Elo-Av-Da'at, but the angelic name is Elexarpe Komananu Tabetoem. That's the closest I can come up with the pronunciation on that. I just don't even know if you could really, if you want to like pause the video at some point here. Let me see if I can. Nah, I guess it doesn't really get any clearer than that, but maybe you can see it in there. Okay, and then this one is Raphael. So Metatron, the angels are Metatron, and you vibrate the angel names after the God name. Elexarpe Komananu Tabitoem, Raphael, Gabriel, or Gabriel, however you prefer to say it. How does he say to pronounce it here while we're at it? Might as well go back and do a review. I usually say Gabriel. It sounds right to me. It resonates, with my energy and such. See, in here he says Gabriel. Or maybe it's Gabriel. I don't know. I would say go with what feels best, though. What feels right. So after you pull the energy down and you vibrate the God name, then you vibrate the angel name along with it as well. And then you move down. You move down like you were before. And then, so just to review all that real quick, you imagine the white sphere at the top. A-Hey-Ye, 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 Metatron. And you vibrate Metatron. And then Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elohim, Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elohim, Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elohim, Elexarpe Komananu Tabitoem. Come down to the solar plexus, Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elo-Av-Da'at, Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elo-Av-Da'at, Yod-Hey-Vah-Hey Elo-Av-Da'at, and Raphael. Down again, Shaddai-Yel-Chai, 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 Gabriel, and then down to your feet. Even going into the ground, like below your feet too, so it's kind of like an anchor, anchoring you into Malkut. And that one is Adonai Haaretz, Adonai Haaretz, Adonai Haaretz, Sandalphon is the angel for the last one, Malkut. Then after that, so that's the complete middle pillar ritual, minus the circulation of the body of light, which I'm about to cover now. So with the angel names combined, that's how that goes. And then it says here, this is on page 107 if you have a copy of is this the second edition or the third edition? It just says revised and expanded. I think maybe this is the third edition now, but it's the one that looks like this. While the advanced middle pillar ritual is a valuable addition to your practices, its success will depend in part upon your visualization abilities. Really, that's where I struggle. Visualization in this sense does not necessarily mean that you must see the colors. Rather, it could mean that you know or feel that the colors are there. I'm a lot better with this. This does not mean that you hope that they are there. You must know that if your astral vision were open, you would easily be able to see the colors in your mind's eye. You must know that the colors are there whether you see them or not. And see, I wish I would have understood this from a little, when I was younger. You know, I would have taken a lot better care of my body if I knew about the meditations and like how to visualize things and you know what all that, how it could be applied in a very powerful way. But you know, sometimes there's a reason we learn certain things later on in life. You know, maybe if I would have been introduced to this as a kid, I would have not liked it or something. So maybe I was meant to just come into it later in my adulthood. It's hard to say how the gears of the universe work sometimes. I'm continuing though. You must know that the colors are there whether you see them or not. Even if you have not mastered the advanced version of the middle pillar ritual, which we just talked about, you should now add a new ritual to your daily practice. I don't know what he means by new ritual. Oh, it's just, okay, what it is it's just something that's like right after the middle pillar. I wouldn't even call it another ritual. He's calling it, I guess, the circulation of the body of light ritual, but to me, it's just an add-on to the middle pillar ritual, so we'll proceed as that, like that. So you do the same practices you've done so far, the relaxation ritual, the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, and then the middle pillar ritual. However, this is important. Do not visualize the middle pillar vanishing. Keep the pillar in your mind's eye as strong as possible. And then while you keep the visualization of the middle pillar, you refocus your attention up here on Kether. The white brilliance above your head, visualize it in a state of extreme strength, needing to radiate even more energy, so it's like almost about to burst. Visualize it sending a current of energy down to the head and to the left shoulder. Let this energy pass down the left side of your body to your left foot. Feel it move up your right foot, up the right side of your body to your head, and go back up to Kether. So the energy ends up, you bring the white light, like, as you inhale, it's going down, like your left side. That's how I do it. Yep, it goes down. It's going all the way down to your foot, down to Malkut. And then it's going back up to heaven, to your right side. So you're circulating the body. It's going in like a kind of this oval like pattern like that. I'm sure there's some connection with the Tau cross. The Tau cross is a visual representation of how when we arc the energy back into our own bodies, we're creating like this vortex of never-ending energy if we're doing it correctly. So the energy, first goes down the left side, down the leg, up the right leg, through your body, and back up to Kether. Feel it move to your right foot, up the right side of your body, to your head, and back up to Kether. This motion should be synchronized with your breath. When you exhale, feel the body go down on your left side. And this is where it gets really powerful, like you can almost fall over and stuff. When I do a lot of the inhales and exhales, and I'm sending that energy up and I'm sending it back down, it's really powerful. It's and it clears your sinuses out, that's for sure. But just, it's like a energy shower, if I could explain it. It's the best way I can explain it. When you inhale, this motion should be synchronized with your breath. When you exhale, feel the energy go down your left side. When you inhale, feel the energy go up your right side. You should have the sensation of a circle of energy swirling around you, kind of like I explained. Move the energy with your breath in 6 to 10 cycles more if you want to. Feel free to expand the energy further out to the sides, to the ends of the universe if you wish. I forget to do this sometimes. Well, not with the last one. I usually do with the third part, which we're going to go over here in just a second. I usually imagine the energy going back out to the ends of the cosmos, and then just returning to me afterwards. You might also wish to experiment with what happens if you contract the energy so that it goes down the left side of the spine and up the right side of the spine. Okay, so he's saying instead of just the left side of the body, left side of the spine in the middle, and then up the right side. So that's kind of cool, because there's a lot of significance with the 32 segments of the spinal cord, and some say it's 32, some say 33. spinal segments lead upwards to the temple, which is the brain. Manly P. Hall talks about that in the chapter on the Sephirotic Tree of Life, which I'm actually trying to memorize that chapter so I can give it as a lecture at any time, anywhere, because it's that book. It's old enough now. It's like there's no real copyright stuff on it. I mean, you can go on the internet and get that book for free, and it's like public access everywhere, you know. So, but it'd be a good lecture to learn and memorize and be able to give back. And I know about a third of the chapter. I have about a third of the chapter memorized now at this point. Sorry to get distracted again. So that was part one of the circulation, is bringing it down this way and doing the loop. The second part that immediately follows the first part of this ritual, it is similar to that part, but instead of directing the energy down one side and up the other, here you should direct the energy down the front of your body and up the back. So now the energy is coming from Kether and going down the front, up the back to Kether. I can feel it transmuting my body even right now, even though I'm not really doing the ritual for real. Be sure to synchronize your breath so that as you exhale, the energy goes down the front of your body, and as you inhale, it goes up your back to your head and up to Kether. Repeat 6 to 10 times. This one's the most fun, in my opinion. He calls it the mummy. This immediately follows the second circulation that we just did there. And you visualize the entire middle pillar. This time, focus your attention on Malkut at the feet. From the upper right side of the spherical power center, visualize the energy curling up in a tight spiral to the front of the left leg. So when you're standing, you know, you're still standing straight up, you know, in your middle pillar thingy. It's going to be on your right foot. The energy like comes around into the front, and it's this light, and it goes counterclockwise. So I don't know if you can tell from the camera looking at me, but if I'm looking this way, the light energy is coming and it's swirling up this way, so it's going counterclockwise. This time, focus your attention on Malkut at the feet. From the upper right side of the spherical power center, visualize the energy curling up in a tight spiral to the front of the left leg. From here, it continues around the back and moves upward in a counterclockwise spiral around your entire body. So it starts at your legs and goes as if you were being wrapped like an Egyptian mummy from the feet to the head. Instead of cloth, however, you were being wrapped in spiraling energy. Kind of makes me think of like the Fibonacci. You should feel a whirling of spiritual power as this pure spiritual light and energy rises up and spirals from your feet to above your head, from Malkut to Kether. So it just keeps rising and spirals up. You should visualize the energy exploding once it gets to Kether. Once it's at Kether, you visualize the energy exploding out like a water fountain. This is the part I really like. Explodes out into a water fountain. In all directions, the energy lands at your feet and begins to rise in the spiral again. So this light, it all comes back, returns down to where your feet are. And then as you inhale, you feel the energy rise again and wrap up, and then you just let it rain out, and then it rises up, and the process continues. As you exhale, feel it explode outwards toward Malkut at your feet. As in the first and second parts, do it for 6 to 10 cycles or more if you wish. Then take a very deep breath, and as you exhale, see the energy disappear visually, but know that it is still there invisibly. Finish by doing the tarot contemplation ritual and or tarot divination if you need to do a divination for anything, and filling out your ritual diary, which I have failed to do myself for quite a while now. But I've been doing these operations so long, and the synchronicities in my life are so powerful and I'm such a busy guy, I realize where my place is in the great work, and I'm so caught up in the excitement and just everything going on right now. So it's like, I know that's no excuse not to keep a magical diary. So do as I say, not as I do. I'm one of those teachers, maybe. But anyway, he goes on a slight warning about the whole circulation of light, which we had talked about before. It's very powerful. It could rock you back and forth, make you feel dizzy, or even fall over as a result of the direction of spiritual energy. The first time he tried this, he fell to the ground, overcome with the energy. He says, to some it may sound absurd, but if you have actually performed all the work and all the practices described previously, you will discover that I am not understanding that I'm not understating what can happen. Sorry. If anything, I'm understating just how wang boom powerful this ritual can be. I've experienced some pretty amazing phenomena with just ritual work in general. Yeah, as far as visually, seeing the, forces and not only seeing but feeling and knowing that it is all the divine working through me. Okay, this video is getting really long. We're at 40 minutes now, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and stop it from here. Not sure when I'll be back on next. Next couple weeks could be pretty busy for me, but I'll try to jump on and get some videos done for you guys. Please like, comment, feel free to ring the little bell if you want to be notified when I get new videos. Please subscribe. Love you all. Peace and blessings. Take care.